Welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast, your weekly source for all things Final Fantasy TCG. So yeah, this is kind of just how we do it. We just kind of sit here and shoot the shit. But I'm really proud of you today, Ethan. I think you had a really great day.
Thank you.
Great day of cards.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And we all know it's a great day when we're back for another episode of the RVA Returners Podcast. Guys, I am your host, Chris Adams. Here with me, as always, is Adam Lane. And we've got a special guest today. It's not Top 8 Johnny, but I'll do you one better. We have cool Ethan Lindquist with us, one of our newer players. Ethan, say hello.
Hello, guys. What's up?
Man, that's a good, just the soothing sounds of Ethan Lindquist. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a fun episode, but we're going to go ahead and get started with what we always like to get started with on this podcast. You know what that is, Ethan? The news. Man, I feel like Dan Rather with that soundbite now. It's kind of nice. But as far as the news goes, we're going to open with our LCQs are now underway. The first one in Virginia is actually tomorrow. We got to play in one today that we'll talk about here, kind of in the meat of the episode. But the first Virginia one is tomorrow. That's at Tower of Games in Virginia Beach. I think it's looking like it's going to be a really big turnout. I know a lot of the Richmond guys are going. A few of the actually a good chunk of the Pocket guys are going. There'll probably be people that are in Virginia Beach that play because I think there's some people in that area that play, but not many. And then you'll have the Fredericksburg gang coming down as well. So, and Adam, I know you're going to that one.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, Ethan, are you going to that one?
I am not. I actually have commitments, but I think it was better that I went to the one today just because the turnout was a lot smaller. And since I'm new to the competitive scene, it was a lot better to get some training in a smaller event and then jump into something
for sure.
bigger.
Yeah, you're like me, man. I'm not going to be able to go tomorrow either. I do have domestic obligations. But then the following two are, the next two of Wave 1 are next weekend. There's one at Jersey's in Yorktown on Saturday, and then Island Games in Northern Virginia next Sunday. So our qualifiers are coming up real quick, and then the week after that is Gen Con, and we'll talk more about that later. Next piece of news is today the tickets go on sale for the Crystal Cup in Seattle. Man, I wish I could make it out to that one.
Yeah, it's not happening for me either.
Yeah.
We've traveled around enough.
We've done a little bit of traveling, and obviously I do want to eventually get to Nationals, so I don't know if I can spring that and then California again. But I will say this. For those of you that are going to be there, I will be in the market for that Unibox.
I'll also be in the market for that, too.
Keep me in mind. Shout outs to Greg Cole being my boy, getting me that Ramza box. So if you can get that Unibox, I'm your guy. Then that's kind of the segue into our last bit of news. Nationals, the dates have been announced. We do know it's September, I believe, 28th and 29th.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's at the, I think it's the same venue as last year, correct?
I didn't go last year, but I believe it's the same venue.
Yeah, the Hilton, like the LA Airport Hilton or something like that. Now, the one thing that's been kind of polarizing about this, we're excited that it's been announced. The big thing, though, is that as of right now, it's a closed venue. That meaning if you don't qualify, you can't get in.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that? We'll start with you, Adam.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think it's a big enough event where you would want people to spectate if they want to come, and you don't want to deter people from coming. I understand maybe you don't want to house with so many people.
Sure.
And maybe that's the reason. But maybe even like a cap for spectators or something. Like even if you have to cap it out, I feel like you should at least allow them to buy tickets and come out. I also think that in doing so, it really deters anyone that's not from California to come to the Last Chance Qualifier.
Yep.
And to me, it essentially makes the California Last Chance Qualifier, or the Last Chance Qualifier in California, another Crystal Cup for California, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%.
Because a lot of people like myself, like say I don't qualify, I'm less interested in flying out for a day before the tournament that I have to plan for a whole weekend, and if I don't win that, then
your vacation plans are shot.
Yeah, and that sucks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's now. Hopefully, like I said, the key word there in the beginning I said was yet. So maybe, and I know we're not the only ones that feel that.
I hope they flip flop on this a little bit, and maybe offer like spectator tickets or something.
Right. Now,
I really hope they do.
And granted, Ethan, the flip side of that is, well, why don't you just shut up and qualify, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's easier said than done because these spots are limited, and like the fact that and what if there's somebody who doesn't want to play, but they want to see these players that because there are people that play this game that don't play it competitively. They like watching other people play it competitively.
Yeah.
And what if they live in California and they don't get a chance to go see? What if they really want to watch Okimoto and Sam Prime like duel it out like on the big stage for like title of national champion? Like they won't get to do that, and I think that's a huge deterrent, and like it's frustrating. And
it sucks a little bit because like as content creators too.
Yeah. Like
we want to go even if we don't qualify. I mean, like we're still going to try to qualify, and I still pretty confident that we will eventually.
Right.
But like. Yeah, I think it kind of sucks that even as content creators, we can't go just for like content purposes and just to like be there and watch.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Again, it's early, right?
Yeah.
And they could change their mind on this. And like I get it if space is an issue.
Yep.
But be forthcoming with that. If they're like, hey, if they would say, hey, we're not doing this, but then in that same breath, they're like, hey, we just don't know what we're looking at space wise. That's why we've made this announcement now. But like don't feed us from the long end of the spoon, or don't say anything at all. You know what I mean? That's kind of rough. But that's all the news we have for this week. Next week we'll have a little bit more as the qualifiers heat up, and and Gen Con will be the week after that. So we've got a lot coming down the pipe. But so let's go ahead and get into the meat. Now I did say in the news that our first Virginia qualifier is tomorrow, but here we are. We've been saying we played in a qualifier today. That was because there was one down in North Carolina at a shop called Game Theory. Shout outs to those guys. That's also Hunter Nance's home shop down in Raleigh. Excuse me. Great operation down there. Great group of guys and gals. I want to make sure that they get their due and proper. They ran a great event, and big shout outs to Joe Gallo, who's done articles for us on our website. He played, but he also acted as judge for this event.
Yep.
So, I appreciate that. It was a really good time, and we all actually did pretty well.
Yeah.
I
Ethan?
mean, going into it, I was pretty nervous. Like, I've played in the weekly events at the local shop, but I've never played in a sanctioned event. Mm-hmm. So I was expecting, I guess, a little more. I don't know. I was expecting it. To be a little more, not necessarily like serious, but I expected it to people to be not as friendly. It was actually like a super great time. I had a lot of fun playing with all the people.
So you're saying this is a non-toxic community? Is that what you're saying? That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah,
you'd be right.
It's a very friendly community, and it's nice to see the community grow, and especially as a newer player.
Yeah. And how many players do we have today, Ethan?
14.
14?
Yeah, we have 14, so not a massive one. I know Joe said they were expecting like 20ish, but I think none of the like Charlotte.
He said none of the
people,
Charlotte guys showed up.
Yeah, which I get it. That's
I kind of liked that it was a smaller turnout.
Sure.
Because it made it a little, for me as a new player, it made it less stressful.
Sure.
I didn't have to play as much, and gave me more opportunities to kind of watch and see how the game plays without, having to worry about everything involved.
Yeah, and speaking of playing, how'd you do today?
I went 3-1, which was I was hoping to make top 8. They cut the top 4, but
yeah, because you have to have 24 players to justify a top 8 cut.
Yep.
But no, it was still nice to do 3-1. I wasn't looking to win it or to do anything special. I just wanted to play and test out the deck I built.
Yeah, and what deck did you build?
I did Wind Water YRP.
Yeah. Was it Wind Water or did you?
Wind Earth.
You went with.
I was running that pre-Opus 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so how did you feel? Obviously the deck did pretty well for you today. How did you feel? As you started playing the deck, how did you get ready for this? And I know what made you land on Earth Wind YRP.
Well, I was pretty comfortable with the original the Wind Water YRP build that they had back in Opus 5, and so, being comfortable with that kind of play style, I thought I'd stick with that going into my first tournament, and it worked pretty well because I knew some of the cards, I didn't know the rest, so getting some some play time in and testing out against different decks like Scions or Mill decks or like Mono Water. So I got to test everything out and see how I take my lines and whatnot.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, not bad, man. It's the 3-1. That was great for your first showing at turn, and you missed top 4 on tiebreakers.
Yeah. I like I said, it was my first tournament, so I wasn't too concerned about making top 4 or anything. But it was nice to, at least be considered for it.
Yeah, there you go. That's the right attitude,
exactly,
man. And we'll gather up back with you here shortly. Adam, how'd you do today, and what were you playing?
I also went X1.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing Turbo Discard. I hate the deck, but it's good. I don't have much fun playing it, honestly, but I understand why it's good, and I wanted to give it a try just to see if, I want to play this in other LCQs.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure, because I do think it's really good and really oppressive, and sometimes your opponent doesn't get to play the game, but it is not fun for me to play. I don't have much fun playing it. I have fun. There's just not many lines, really. It's kind of just play what you get.
Yeah, well, very much so.
But it is really good, and when it works, people on the other side of the table are not happy.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
But yeah, I went 3-1, got top 4. Then we had to face in top 4.
Yeah, that's not the way I wanted it to go either.
In the mirror.
Yeah.
Which is pretty volatile and dumb.
The mirror, we might as well have just gone outside and Rochambeau'd each other for 2 out of 3 Rochambeau. I think it would have been
it was
just
cool.
as accurate.
We were eating before top 4 started. We had a lunch break, and I think I told you before top 4 started, I kind of figured how it was gonna go. I was whoever sees more Jills is probably gonna win.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of stayed true.
It did.
It was whoever saw the most Jills or just Jills at the right time in the mirror are really bad because it basically sets the other person back a turn.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and say this because, and I guess that's just a good segue because I was also on Turbo Discard. I went 4-0, lost a nail biter to Curtis Kang in the finals. I mean, if he doesn't get that EX burst on the 6 point of damage, he just loses.
Yeah, he did misplay and gave you an opening, but you didn't see it. I mean, you didn't get the card that you needed.
Yeah,
he realized that as soon as he swung that he shouldn't have swung.
Yeah.
And he realized that he was on 6, and he realized that Squall was a possibility at that point. Yeah. And you didn't get the Squall at the top.
Yeah, because that's kind of where it snowballed, right? I went and I said, so went 4-0 in Swiss, only took 3 points of damage the whole day. Then you and I played in top 4, went to 3 games. It was exactly how we said it was going to be.
Yep.
I took game 1. You slammed game 2.
Oh no, I took game 1. You took 2. And 3.
That's right.
Yeah, you took 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was on the play, and then you beat me, and then I was on the play again. That's right. Yep. That's right. So we went 3 games. Both of them, it just, again, it's so back and forth. And, I know game 3, it was a matter of me seeing, I saw all 3 of my Lagunas with Squall out.
2 off the top with 2 CP Squall out, which was hurt a lot.
2 CP Squall is the absolute truth in that deck. But here's the thing. When we got to Curtis, because I had to play Curtis in Swiss, right?
Yep.
I just rolled over him in Swiss. And,
yep.
and he knew it. And then we played. I took game 1. He took game 2 very, very convincingly.
Yeah, he kind of turned the corner really fast. And
very
fast.
Could do. And then game 3, I put a lot of pressure on him early, and then he started to come back. And I think where the game changed was when that 6 point. He had 2 cards in hand. I didn't have a way to make him get rid of anything. And on the 6 point of damage, he got
1 card.
Yeah, 1 card in hand. So he gets the Star Sybil, and he goes and grabs a Shantoto, and he's got
Chaos on the board.
Yeah, he's got 2 backups. So now that means he can Shantoto next turn, and I've got 3 forwards out, and he just has a Camelot. So that was the first time he turned that was enough, because if he doesn't get that, if it's anything else on that 6 point of damage, he just does not win. He just doesn't, because at that point he'll only have 3 cards in hand, and there's not much he can do. So he Shantotos me. I'm back, and I was like, cool. The only play I have at this point is I need to slap the top of my deck and pray for a Squall. I draw my 2. It's not even Curtis was like, please don't draw a Squall.
That was 2 turns later.
Well, no, because it happened again after that.
Yeah, because that turn he couldn't do much about. He had the Shantoto.
Yep.
So yeah, Squall off the top there is basically lights out, and then he managed to play another Dottaluma and a Yestola.
Yeah.
And he swung with Dottaluma, which I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then at this point he had no cards in hand. But he swung with Yestola, and as soon as he turned Yestola sideways, and he realized, you could see it in his face, he realized what he did. He realized he opened himself up to Squall.
Yep. So then, what do I do again? I slap the top of my deck and say, "Give me a Squall," and I pull up. Man, it's an Argath and a Genesis, and I'm like, "Well, that's not going to get me there." And then at that point, the game's over at that point.
Yeah, so I think that was your one turn opening because after that, he was going to hold any answer he got to
pretty much.
Squall.
Pretty much. So Curtis took it. Congratulations to Curtis. Great job qualifying. I know we all want to get those spots, and they are limited. And I'm glad one of the boys got it first.
Makes our qualifiers a little easier.
It does. So Curtis can kind of run interference for us at this point. It just sucked, man. I hate having. It can be expected when we get to the top cut that we are going to have to play each other. We're going to have to take each other out.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
And I feel bad about it, but at the same time too, like we understand. So and that way we know, like if you qualify, and now that Curtis qualifies, he's going to pave the way for us and Steven and all those guys. And then when you qualify, you're going to run interference for me, and vice versa, or vice versa. So it's fine. Had a great day of cards. I'm looking to the next one, which I wish I could go to the one tomorrow, but I can't. But I know Game Theory, if I don't qualify by then, they do have another one. They got another one for Wave 2 happening, and I will 100% make that drive down there again. It's only 2.5 hours away from us, so it's a very short trip.
You can count me in on that one, too.
Yeah, and they're great people down there, man. Like I think they run a great operation.
Yeah, the whole crew is really nice.
They're
really cool.
awesome.
Yeah, it was super friendly. I mean,
dude, and we got deck boxes and sleeves.
Yeah, they apologized because the kit didn't come on time.
Yeah, so they didn't have Curtis wasn't able to walk out of there with his trophy today.
Yeah, he gets it mailed to him. So as an apology, they gave us all deck boxes, all Game Theory sleeves.
Yeah, and they doubled the prize.
And they doubled the prize support. So I think Curtis walked away with a whole box, and I want to say I got 5 or 6 packs.
I got 9, and then they're going to mail me the promos and stuff.
Yeah, they're going to mail. Yeah, and I get the promos too because I think top 4 gets promos.
Yeah. Yeah, so overall it was a good time. Everybody who was there played really well. The decks were pretty diverse. There were some
top 4 wasn't, but
top four was about bland as baby food. I'll tell you that. The rest, right now.
Everybody else outside of top 4, they were playing some decent. There were some Scions, a lot of monsters.
Yeah, there were 2 3-color monster
and
decks.
One mono water. Oh, my bad. It was 2. It was a mono water, a water earth, and 2 tricolor.
Oh wow! So there were 4 monster decks.
4 monster decks.
Okay.
Then I saw there was the other mono ice player, the top 4. Then we were on mono ice. Curtis was on Urion J Mill.
There was another wind earth.
Yeah, I think there was another wind earth. And you were
on
YRP.
Steven was on. Yeah, Steven was also on wind earth.
Yeah, then you were on YRP.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean it was kind of diverse. But yeah, once the top 4 cut happened, it was 3 ice players and. Curtis.
Pretty much. Yeah, and like I said, it was fine. Games were real close. I had a lot of fun playing the deck, and I'll probably keep playing because it's very much a Chris Adams.
Yeah, it's an aggro deck that kind of puts you on your back foot on turn 1, unless you just draw bad.
Yeah, which can happen.
Yeah, it can happen. It can.
So
and
it's not an end-all be-all. The deck is super. It's like handling nitroglycerin.
Kinda, yeah. It's kind of accurate. Yeah, and that's what I don't like about it. I admit that it's a really good deck. And it could put people on tilt turn 1.
Oh, yeah. I think you and I just laughed the entire time we were playing. It's like, I got a Jill. You got a Jill.
Pretty much.
My Squall. Here's your Squall. That's a Laguna. Yeah, it was just dumb.
Yeah, and there's just not really, a lot of diverse lines of play. You're just kind of it's turn 1, it's basically how many cards can I make him discard?
Yeah, it's a flowchart.
And then after that, it's how many cards can I play every turn after this while making him discard as many cards as possible and keeping his hand down. So that I can swing with my shitty little 2-drops.
Yep. Who'd have thought Argath would be giving so much business?
Yeah. So like I said, it's not a deck that I super enjoy playing, but it is a very real deck, and people should expect it.
Yep, I agree. So with that being said, again, great tournament, great time. We're gonna look to the future, to the next ones. But before we start talking about future plans and future endeavors, we haven't done one of these in a while. We got Ethan here, and we said we'd come right back around to you. I think it's time for a new player spotlight. We've talked to Top 8 Johnny. We've had
Top 8 Johnny.
We've had Sarah. Top 8 Johnny, and we've had Sarah on here before. But we want to learn let's introduce people to the other faces of the RVA community. So Ethan Lindquist. That sounds like a very very regal name of the Baltimore Lindquists.
There's a keeper for, I don't remember which hockey team, but his name is Lindquist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Ethan, so I'm just going to go through a small interview. We'll let you know if you get the job at the end of this.
Of course.
So what got you into the game? When did you start playing?
So I wasn't a huge card game person until this game, actually. I played a few board games over at the hobby shop.
Because I know I met you painting 40K models.
Infinity. Actually.
Infinity, that's right. You're doing
so
Infinity.
I played
40K.
Infinity mostly. I played a little, dabbled in a little Guild Ball.
Nice.
I tried Magic out, and it wasn't for me. It was really hard to get into a game that was so expensive.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And when Final Fantasy came along, I mean, first thing off the bat, loved the games. So I mean, it was easy for me. And once I learned how the game worked and how like dynamic it was, and it was super fun. I couldn't put it down after that.
What's your favorite element in the game?
I really like wind.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, wind and water have been the two elements I've played the most.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely the elements I'm most comfortable with. But the more I play Earth, the more I'm starting to like it.
Yeah.
And it's just super fun, and I love being able to, break my backups and, look through my break zone and have the ability to, pick out what I need for any situation. It helps with, like, versatility among different decks that I play.
Yeah, Earth these days is not what it used to be. That's for sure. It used to be just so vanilla.
Yeah.
It was the Breyers ice cream of the game, and now they got a lot of moves.
Yeah.
A lot of moves these days. What's your favorite Final Fantasy game? If you had to pick one, 7.
Yeah, it's
That's
the
fine.
huge nostalgia thing for me.
Sure.
I have an older brother, and he grew up playing that game, and I took on after him. So I don't know, just because of that, it's always been my favorite.
Nice. And what is your favorite deck to play currently? Like if you had to pick one deck that you've played and like to play, and if it was the only deck, it's your Desert Island deck, if this is the only deck you could play for the rest
I
of
play YRP. I've only played that for what, like 8 weekly events.
And you're lucky you didn't top 4 today, because I would have sung all of YRP's greatest hits the whole way home.
Oh yeah. I told you if I won, I was gonna make you play Africa by Toto the whole way home.
As sung by YRP, as performed by YRP.
Of course.
But yeah, man, that's cool. And favorite card in the game?
Oh, that's actually a hard one.
There's just so many good ones, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the 4-drop Light Cloud from Opus 1.
Yeah.
Just as, I mean, like I said, I love Final Fantasy Final Fantasy 7, and I mean,
yeah, he's got 2 really good abilities
yeah,
too.
It's just a fun card to play. It's a good card. I mean, it never really. I haven't seen it played much, but
yeah, it's
I'd love to build a deck around it just for fun. Jam it in a weekly.
Yeah, I mean that's what the weeklies are for, man.
Yeah.
So how long you bet you have been coming to the weeklies pretty regularly, and you've been doing pretty well.
Yeah,
like you're consistently, like, if you're not in like the top cut, you're like right on the bubble. Like if you don't make top cut, you're usually like on like up your 5th or 6th. Like you just got a tiebreaker somewhere. So like you're consistently like a solid player, which is cool. And you do like trying new things, which I have noticed.
Yeah, I've noticed that I like to play things that are more fun than, like what's going to win. Because
Sure.
I'm not... I guess I haven't gotten too big into the competitive scene of it yet. I mean, this is, like I said, this is my first, tournament. So, since I don't have as much time to play the game, I like to invest in decks that'll be a little more enjoyable to play.
See, that might be the best way to end that new player spotlight. So you heard it here, guys and gals. Ethan Lindquist loves the game, loves having fun, loves Top 8 Johnny, but who doesn't? So now,
how else are we gonna get our chocolate bread?
Oh yeah, look at that chocolate bread, yo, Johnny. That's right. We had a nice celebratory steak dinner at the Outback Steakhouse. Sponsored by #Crikey. Is there really anywhere else we're supposed to eat after a tournament? I feel like we're kind of obligated to. I like how we've just kind of taken on this imaginary sponsorship through Johnny.
Johnny, we asked for your discount, but they wouldn't give it to us.
Yeah, they said they've never heard of Top 8 Johnny.
Yeah.
I personally was appalled and shocked, but mostly hurt. And you should be too, and you all should be hurt for him. So riot in the streets for Top 8 Johnny. But so the last thing we're going to talk about here, moving right along, what's coming up, what's next for us, what's coming down the pipe for us, what are we doing? I know we just put out a Blitz Tech video. I love the new format on that. Looks good. I think it looks really, really good, showcasing the cards. I know we're trying to get some other videos. We do have another giveaway we're working on.
Yeah, it'll probably be soon.
It's going to be a fun one, so stay tuned. If I know Andy Carmona might know what it's going to be because he's got a real gift for this one. So we'll see. But so we got a new giveaway coming up soon. But then we've also got, again, like I said at the top of this, we've got 2 local qualifiers next week. There's one tomorrow. There's one tomorrow. So I'm confident that you'll get yours. I'd like to come back from this picnic with my lady.
I would love to be that too, but
like if I don't, I'm gonna be upset if I don't open my phone and see you cheesing with a trophy. I mean, I won't be but so upset because I know the competition's gonna be stiff. There's gonna be some good players there.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Virginia is one of the tougher ones, even though we got 3. I think it's gonna be one of the tougher ones to win.
Yeah,
there's a lot of players here. I'm expecting like 30 to 40 at each one.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people signed up for these.
So it's going to be tough. Yeah, I think we're probably going to have some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'd probably think Cali maybe could keep up with the numbers that we're going to have, but it's going to be grueling tomorrow. I think it's probably going to end up being 5 to 6 rounds of Swiss with the top 8 cut, would be my guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and see, for me, I'm glad that I did not go to that one.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a little more stressful. And like I said, I'm all about the fun, man.
Mm-hmm.
So
just a regular good time Charlie over here.
Well, I mean, if I can win one of these qualifiers, I'll take whatever I think the most fun deck is to Gen Con.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I was kind of bummed about today. Like again, shout outs to Curtis, but I was literally 1 point of damage away from putting this baby to bed today.
It happened, it wasn't like either one of you played bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It just the cards fell in his favor.
Yeah, I don't feel like I played bad either.
No, not at all. Not at all.
There were I definitely made a few misplays for sure, but I don't really think any of the misplays I made really changed the outcome of the game. They were misplays when I was kind of already behind, and when you're behind on this deck, it's it's an uphill battle.
Big time.
Yeah, I'll stress this to people that want to play this deck. It will win fast, and it will beat people that are better than you, and it will make people upset.
Yeah.
So that all sounds great if you're trying to win, which I won't blame anyone for trying to win. Mm-hmm. However, if you fall behind with this deck,
it will lose just as fast.
You will lose twice as hard.
If you'll look like a jerk.
Yeah. If they stabilize, you're most likely just dead.
Yeah.
Because this deck has no comeback factor. There's not really much room for outplaying. There's no real tricky plays. Mm-hmm. You're gonna slam 2 CP forwards. You're gonna party attack, or you're gonna attack with Squall when they have no cards in their hand, and then you're gonna make them discard their stuff. The only way this deck can really take it into the late game is if they have 2 Gespers online early.
Yep.
And just basically make you forced to play whatever you have, and they get their top decks that they need.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen. When I was playing against it leading up to the event, I mean, playing against it, the only way to win is to, take first turn.
The dice roll matters a lot. That's another thing I hate. The one game I lost in Swiss was the one time I lost a dice roll in Swiss. And it was funny because, I was telling people that were there, I rolled a 5. This is crazy. I remember this now. Mm-hmm. I remember the die roll from today.
Yeah, that should tell you something about the deck.
So, so I rolled a 5, and I'm like, oh, okay, 5, I'm good, right? He rolls a 5. I'm like, well, this sucks. Mm-hmm. My next roll, 1. I'm like, this is going to be a bad day.
Yep.
And then he rolls a 2.
Yeah.
He barely beats me. And, of course, he takes the play. He's on mono ice. He was on tempo ice. He was the other guy that, I think his name was Rob.
Rob. Yep.
Nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a very good opening hand. He was able to get to 2 backups, and he was actually forcing me to discard, which didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And I just kind of got steamrolled because I could never get started. Mm-hmm. And then our games were really volatile.
Oh yeah.
But the other losses to Curtis, it was just you either won in the first 5 to 10 turns or you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you lose, you crash and burn.
Yeah,
right?
you crash. There's just not. Your only comeback factor is to keep forwards on the board and hope that you draw all your Shivas.
Yep, and I will say this: if you do plan on playing the deck, trust me, you'll know when it's time to scoop your cards up.
Yeah.
And just do it, and just go to the next game.
Yep.
Don't try to Justin Wong your way out of this. Don't try to.
That's the thing. You can't. The deck just doesn't have room to outplay.
Yeah.
It's all about just where my draw's good, and surprisingly the deck is consistent at doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be games where it's not, and you're going to feel pretty hopeless against what you're playing. Like, if you don't get double discard turn 1, it doesn't feel good.
Yep.
Like, you want to at least make them discard 2 cards on turn 1, hopefully 3, ideally, and then put both players in top deck mode.
Yeah.
Because then Squall is just, and Citadel Stain are just crazy off the top at that point.
Yep. Squall's got a home in that deck for sure. If anybody's curious about a deck to put him in, it's 1,000% that.
I honestly right now think it's the only deck he goes in.
Oh, for sure.
Because I don't think he really belongs in like the tempo build.
No, he's not good enough. He'll be a 5K.
But in this deck he's really good.
Yeah.
He's like one of the best top decks you can have.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, your hand's empty? Cool, here's this Squall.
Yep.
Oh, you're on 6 points of damage and you just finally cleared my stuff and you feel like you're doing good? Here's Squall with haste.
Yep. Tap the top of your deck, hope for Squall.
Cast Shantoto, get Squalled.
Exactly. That's pretty much what happened. That's exactly how it goes. And so the other big thing, the last big thing, we're going to end on this, other than when we decide to remember more stuff to end it again, like we always do. Gen Con is in 2 weeks, guys. Gen Con is in 2 weeks. I know I'm signed up. I've signed up for the sealed.
I've been signed up for months.
Yeah, I bought my badge like the day they came out, but I didn't want to commit to anything yet because again, you know, and you actually talked me into doing the sealed.
I was gonna say that it was pretty funny because you were literally messaging me and you were like, I don't think I'm gonna do the sealed. It's just not my cup of tea. And I go, you know, you get a box for sealed, right? And he goes, I'm signing up for sealed.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna sign up for sealed because it's the Furion box.
Yeah,
and I was like, shit. Well, yeah, I guess I'm signing up for sealed. I think I messaged you later that day, so I've signed up for sealed in the Saturday event because I think what I want to do on Friday. Also, because I think I want to use Friday to kind of dick around. But, after doing that interview with Cody, that was actually a lot of fun. So, again, shout outs to the Choka Bros. Cody, I think he's a great addition to you guys' team. He brings a nice fresh perspective, a nice energy to it. And, we had a great time doing that interview. We actually just kind of sat on the computer and just kind of shot the shit beforehand and kind of shot the shit after we were done. I'd love to, whatever, if he's not playing I know he'll be there. If he's not playing in the Friday event, I'd love to go around with him and just do a bunch of interviews with people and just talk to players and, who else is going to be there. Maybe, shoot some videos of people demoing the game, just, really make some fun cross creator content. You know what I mean? I guess for lack of a better way to put it. But yeah, so we're doing that. I know I want to play in the Pauper event. It's a $5.
Yeah, I'm gonna play in that too. I already signed up for it. Should be fun.
I think
Title.
Yeah, Title's there too. I think I'm gonna play Title, and I think I don't know what Pauper deck I want to play. I think I might play Dragoons just for shits and giggles,
it's probably
or you
fine.
play the Viking deck. I think Viking Pauper's pretty viable.
It's probably okay, but I'm worried about how you win. Like, how do you win with that deck?
Yeah, you don't.
Because you can't play Zemus. Zemus is heroic.
Yeah, you don't. You just draw cards. You just draw cards and mill yourself out.
You just deck yourself out.
Yeah, that's the idea. You just draw a bunch of cards, discard
I think there's a few decks that are pretty good, but I need to mess with stuff. I haven't really looked at it much since Opus 6 came out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play Dragoons. I think that's where I'm going to go.
But it's interesting. I mean, it might be a fun thing to do one Tuesday.
Yeah,
I don't know if people would be into it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't want to make it like Title where it's like once a month because I feel like it's not as fun as Title.
Yeah.
But it might be like once every 2 or 3 months might be fun.
It could be a cool event to bring in like new players, especially if
because it's cheap. You don't have to have the card. Like the cards are really like literally you could probably buy a whole deck for like $10.
I mean, you can probably even build decks and then be like, hey, we're doing this event.
Honestly, I could probably give someone enough bulk to make a Pauper deck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Pauper's
Here's
a fun
box
tournament.
of bulk. Make your own deck.
Yeah, because let's be honest. I think Pauper and Magic is one of the best formats it has, and I think it has a lot of potential in this game too.
It's not explored in this game, so it's hard for me to accurately say. But the more I've looked at it, there are some really good Pauper cards. Without going too far off topic with what we're doing today, like Godot is a really gross Pauper card.
He sure as shit is.
Squall Laguna, the old Squall Laguna.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of really, really good, and like Mono Ice is a super viable Pauper deck. You could almost play Pauper Mono Ice in a competitive state.
You could almost play Turbo. It's like you don't get the new Squalls, you don't get Doom Trains, and you don't get Citadel Stain, which does hurt.
Yeah, but that's okay because you can just play that Zaid guy or Zed or whatever. And
I think they might as well go more tempo. You just play the old Squall Laguna.
Yep, you can play Renoa back up to search them. Zed. You still get you could play pretty much your summon package is Shivas and Mateus.
Yep.
And you can do what?
Remedy and Sid.
Sid Rain.
Yeah, Sid Randall is really good.
Sid Randall. You can play, I don't think
you can't play. You can play the backup Sid Rains because you can't play starter cards as far as I know.
Yes, I know that's Some people
Oh,
say
is it a
yes, some
starter
people say
card?
no. Yeah, no, yeah. There's two Sid Reigns. There's a starter one that
And then the Opus
Yeah.
5 one.
yeah, the backup that does 7K to something, which I
Dual.
think is
7K
very
to a dual.
playable. So yeah, Pauper's a lot of fun. So there's gonna be a lot of events at Gen Con, and I can't wait to see everybody there. There's two qualifiers there. There's the sealed one, and then there's the 2 flights for the constructed one. I believe the box for the constructed one is Warrior of Light, which I'm
I
really
think so.
excited about. Yeah. It's weird that the box is what's making me play in the sealed tournament. Who knows? But I could end up having a really good seal pool and end up doing very well.
Exactly.
But
I won't.
Come
I
back
won't.
with a bunch of boxes.
yeah, they're great. I
I
love
won't
them.
be mad if I qualify in sealed. I'll be fine with that.
Oh yeah, you're a much better sealed player than most.
I
of
was a
us.
sealed player in old games, so it's like kind of like isn't that
You have
hard
the
for
mind
me.
for it.
But in this game, I prefer constructed.
But yeah, man, like I think Gen Con's gonna be a lot of fun. And again, it's 2 weeks. Like I know we're driving. It's only a 9-hour drive, like 9.5.
It's long, but yeah, it's not as bad as like Boston.
Or Kansas City.
Well, you drove to Canada. I did not fly. I
Yeah.
flew. I did not drive.
Yeah, that was a hike. But also too, I know we've got our lodging situation. We're gonna be hanging out with the North Carolina guys.
Yeah, I think they're the Charlotte. That's the Charlotte guys.
Is that the Charlotte guys? Okay.
I don't think they were there today.
they were not.
The guys that were at remote.
Yeah,
I haven't met all
I
of
think
them.
Rob is in that group chat.
Okay,
I think that's the same Rob, but I'm not.
but it should be
sure.
fun.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a great time. There's gonna be there's probably gonna be a lot of alcohol involved at some point. That's why a small part of me really hopes I'm qualified before then, so I can play something
kick
wacky
back.
and fun and
Yeah.
just not make it feel like work. And that's where I can just dick around and play board games. Because I'm not gonna lie, I really hope it's there. I really want to try out that Transformers trading card game.
Yeah, I've seen people talking about it.
That's just that's
I just wanna play-
childhood
That would
thing
be
for
awesome.
me. Yeah.
I just want to play a game of classic versus.
I hope dude. If they have classic verses there, I might actually put out the bat signal like on the community page on
Yeah,
Facebook.
I just want to
and
play,
see-
even if it's just like a fun 4-man little thing. I'll play, even if it's a sealed pod. I'd be
That's
down.
what I'm saying. Like the last impromptu verse tournament I ran into was at a GP Baltimore,
Yeah.
and I just ended up stopped playing Magic and won an impromptu verse tournament.
The issue
It was
is I don't
lot
have
of
a
fun.
deck anymore, so
Chances are, if something's happening, people will have decks.
Yeah.
I know I sold all of mine, and I'm pretty sure they'll be there. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, I guess it is there because it's at Gen Con.
yeah.
So I said we were going to end on Gen Con, but we're actually going to end on this. I think it's important to know, like these qualifiers are no joke. I mean, no, I think we kind of downplayed the size of some of these things. It doesn't matter the size really. It's not the size of the boat; it's the motion in the ocean. Am I right? Am I right, kids? But it does take a long time to get to England in a rowboat. Remember that. But like I think regardless, right? No matter how good you do, if you don't win, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
nobody
it's-
remembers second.
It's a winner go home kind of
It is.
situation here.
It's exactly, and like I think it's
And they're
important-
not cheap. These are like $25 tournaments.
Oh yeah,
So they're pretty serious. Everybody's coming to play.
yeah. So like you need like the mindset is you need to test. Like you need to find the meta matchups, the potential meta matchups, and find a deck that you think gives you the best shot. So and I know when we did our podcast last week, we were hanging out at Drew's house. Like we were deep in the trenches,
Yeah.
man. We were
Probably for 8 hours straight.
Yeah, we just grinded games and matchups, and it's not just a matter of playing matchups. It's also talking through the turns. It's talking through the lines.
And that was hard for me was because, Opus 6 just came out, and I'm newer to the game, so I didn't know what I wanted to build.
Sure.
So, one, I had to find something that I thought I might feel comfortable playing, and then learn that deck and learn the matchups. And I was pretty busy that week, so those last few days I was staying at the shop and I was jamming as many games as possible.
Will Buckley took you to the
Yeah.
hyperbolic time chamber
Yeah,
and trained
buddy.
you up real good.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'll give another shout out to Will Buckley. The man has a mind for card games. He's a hell of a Magic player. He's ridiculous at this game. I think Will Buckley. I think he could easily, and this I'm not tooting the man's horn or anything. I'm just stating the facts. If he played this game like competitively and played it a lot, he could be probably one of the best players in the country. The guy just has an insane mind for this game and for card games in general. And also the fact that his legacy deck could buy somebody, his Magic Legacy deck could purchase a house for somebody.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, but he's a great person. I said all that to tell you this. He's a good person to train with because he's always going to be at the shop because he owns the joint, and he's always because he'll always hit me up or for like lists and stuff. He's like, hey, because I think he hit me up for like lists that you should test, and I was like, hey, you should run through this, run through this, run through this, run through this, and maybe this. And I guess it worked out okay.
Yeah, the other thing is that's nice is, he's not just trying to play, like, he was able to help me out and work through some of the things, and any questions I had about the deck, he was able to answer, and so instead of having to go through the steps of taking stuff out and putting stuff in and then, saying, okay, this works and this doesn't work, he just told me, like, play this, try this out, and just stick with it. And so I was able to do that, and then I, only had to make, like, one cut, and just I changed a few cards, and that was it, and then I was ready. So
yeah, so like running through the matchups, and it's not just about playing cards. I know we talked about this on a way earlier cast about, like, when you're talking about testing for tournaments, like the same mindset holds sway. Like, you theory craft things, you talk about, and it is a little bit harder when a new set comes out, right? Because you don't really know what to expect. It's wide open, and it still is.
Yeah, the funny thing about like specifically for locals, we can kind of guess what to expect because we kind of know a lot of the players. It's not like we're going to Kansas City. We only know like a few.
Yeah.
We kind of know what to expect from a lot of players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot.
At least tomorrow, like I'm kind of have a good idea of what a lot of people are on. Not everybody, but a decent amount. And I think there's a good amount of people playing old, tried and true stuff, and people that are experimenting with new cards. It's still going to be tough.
Yeah, I agree, and I think a lot of these tried and true decks. I think Opus 6 is a good set. I think it doesn't have the same, like, the power creep isn't the same. So you're seeing old archetypes that there's new cards that have been put in. Like, you'll see the mill decks that maybe run Paul or Agito. You'll see the Earth decks that may be running Agito, or some of the new Opus 5, Opus 6 Titan, things like that. Water decks will be running Amorex. They're taking the archetypes there and maybe like plugging in a card or two, and I think that's what you're going to see a lot of that in this set. I think in this meta.
You guys were saying I think I actually had the most Opus 6 cards.
I told you that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure today in one single deck you probably put the most Opus 6 cards because we had 3.
We had 3. Yeah, and it was all the same card.
It was Squall, 3 copies of Squall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean a lot of players probably had like 6 to 10 at the most.
Yeah.
And you had 3 of each of the Gold Wings.
Yeah.
Including you had 3?
Yep.
So that's 9 right there.
Yep. 2 Titan.
You had Titan.
Yep. In case anybody didn't know, Earthwind is the proper way to be playing Gold Wings.
I think Earthwind is the best. And I'll shout it out. I've seen it on the page a few times. Richard Brady posted the original list that I saw, at least for me. I know I've seen some people saying like Japanese players and whatnot, and they were posting like pictures and stuff. So I know at least where I got my, because I had an initial list too, and where I got the idea from was RB posted an initial list, and I was like, oh yeah, this Earthwind Gold Wings is probably just the best version of Gold Wings. Like this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it was weird for me because so I guess for certain decks, like I'll look at the deck itself and I'll be like, oh, that's a really good idea, but I didn't necessarily see how the deck worked at first. So for me it was kind of cool to just try it out and trust it, and it worked better than I expected actually.
And that's one of the things about this game, man. This game's like Moneyball. Am I right? Like, it's like the movie Moneyball. Like, sometimes the decks, and I'll say the same thing about Turbo Discard, like, they don't look good on paper. Like, you look at some of these lists on paper and you're like, how the fuck does that work? And then you're just like, you start playing it, you're like, oh, that's how that works.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. It snowballs really hard.
The more and more I play, in general, I keep finding more and more tricks.
Yeah, because the best part of playing that archetype, in my opinion, is if you get Riku and Pain online, now you have 2 forwards that are hexproof.
Yep.
If you play a 3rd forward and you have Hoshmail in hand, or just any, doesn't matter. If you have Hoshmail in hand, doesn't matter what forward you play. You can potentially make any forward that you play in your deck hexproof.
Yeah.
After the fact, after they target, which is gross.
We threw in the 7 in there.
So funny, that was in my original list too. Your list is pretty similar to what I have, and my list is pretty similar to what RB had. So RB also had 7 in there. Being able to turn your guys in cadets, and you're like, oh cool, now my Gold Wings can only be blocked by 3 or less.
Yep.
Yeah, I played a game against Ice, and he had a Celis and a something else out, and they were cost 4, so I just turned all of my forwards into classier cadets and just swung through and won.
Yeah. Actually, your list is super similar to RB's because he ran Titans as well. Yep. I don't run the Titans.
The EX Burst Titan is real good.
Yeah.
Dude, and Hoshmail, Like, there's a card in Magic called Blossoming Defense. That's exactly what Hoshmail is sometimes in that deck. They go to try to kill one of you guys, like, nope, we're all Gull Wings, we're all hexproof. Like, it just seems really great. Like, there's just some really, like...
There's a lot of interesting stuff you can do.
I feel like it also makes Common a little better against, like, 2-color decks.
Yeah, because you could potentially make up 2 colors.
Exactly. So, like, if you choose, like, you're playing Water Wind, and you're like, well, I really don't want to deal with the Chaos, and then they Leviathan, you can...
Turn him to water.
Turn him to... you can Hoshmail, turn him to water.
You can make them both, because Hoshmail also says element. It's not just job.
Yep. And an extra
1,000 power to everybody.
1,000
Yeah, so now he's at 10k.
Yeah, like that. Like, I think that deck has if there's a new archetype, and granted, YRP is not a new archetype, but this one feels like a new archetype.
I will say, I don't know if this is in your list, and I don't believe it was an RB list, but someone can correct me. I think Cockatrice is really good in that deck.
Oh yeah,
I was running 2 Cockatrice.
Yeah, because the only way Pain and Riku are going to die is through damage.
Yep.
Or unless you just block something really stupid.
Yeah.
So Cockatrice being able to negate damage is really good.
Yep, and also, and
Riku's special.
Yeah, Riku can get herself out of trouble very quickly. Like, she can, like, if Vestinian's coming in hot, you can block special, get her out of there, block that first damage, and then, cool, I don't die this turn because you can't get that 2 damage.
Yep.
Yeah, I think YRP is neat. That might be a deck I
actually think it might be really good.
It was really fun.
I agree.
I don't necessarily think it's like better than Mono Ice or any of those, but like it's a good deck and it's really fun to play.
I think right now there's just a ton of decks that are like right under what we consider. We don't know what's tier 1 yet.
Yeah, it's too early. It's too early to tell.
It's really too early. I mean, Ice is a pretty safe bet, but it's really too early.
Yep.
And I think there's just a lot of things that are pretty good. Like Scions is really good.
Yep. Yeah.
I actually think the YRP build is potentially really good. I still think there's better builds out there that people just haven't tweaked. They haven't tweaked it enough yet, but it can be really good.
Yep.
I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. And
Yeah.
you can't. It's hard to be ready for everything.
And that's why you have to kind of pick the safe bets when you're testing, right? Yeah. Like, you have to just kind of say, all right, well, I know this will be. I know Wind Earth is a thing. I know Ice is a thing. I know, I know monsters are a thing. Even though
it helps when you're at a local too. Like I said earlier, like you knowing what other people play a lot, it gives you an easier time testing.
Though I think right now, 3-color monsters probably isn't the safest bet because it's a control deck and there's no meta to control.
Yeah. So I'll harp on this a little bit actually. It's not a bad deck.
No, not by.
There's a reason I'm not playing it right now because I like the deck a lot. When the meta is undefined, which when a new set comes out, meta's pretty undefined typically, people are just going to go back and play old stuff, but you can't know that.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's going to be tons of people that play old stuff, but there's going to be tons of people that play new shit that you got to be ready for. And when you play a deck like Monsters that's trying to control everything that's happening, you can't have answers for an undefined meta. It's really hard because your answers are very specific. And also there's a few cards that are pretty scary, like Ramu. Yeah,
Ramu's a really good deterrent right now, and while that card's hot...
Scion's also scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't deal well with like hasty stuff.
Yeah.
And if Scions gets out the gate, even if you manage to Shantoto, the post-Shantoto turn, you could potentially still take 2, 3 damage.
You could slam Papalemo and Yida
which
again
is easy.
On the same turn.
Yeah, I've done that multiple times where post-Shantoto, I have Papalemo, and I'm like, I'm just going to pay 5 and get 2 hasters out.
Yeah. And then the pressures, you've got them right back where you want them.
I mean, usually when they Shantoto, they were already pressured, right? Yeah. So usually they probably already taken damage. So 2 damage on top of what they just took.
Yeah, they could be at 4 or 5 before they finally get a chance to Shantoto.
Yeah, and one of those is Yida, you better get rid of her.
Yep. She's going to keep growing.
I think Scions was definitely the matchup I was most scared of today.
Yeah, there was one guy there playing it. And he had his own kind of personal brew. I don't think people have figured out the best version of that yet either, because... Yeah. Personally, and again, this is like a personal thing. I don't know if it's right yet. I don't have Urion J in my Scion build. He counts as a Scion, and I think there are some good monsters you can recur that cost 2, like Dragon and stuff like that he can abuse. But when you do that, you're committing a lot of pieces to your deck that aren't forwards, that aren't hasting, that aren't doing damage. And Urion J, honestly, when he's out, if you're counting on him for Yida and Yustola, that's a very easy piece to remove. He sneezes on that dude and he dies. But the thing is, in most decks where he's good, he's already done his job when he's out.
Because he comes back in and brings a Layak out with him. He's good.
And sometimes an extra 2 CP with haste could blow out the game. But again, like if you play him, you're probably committing him and like 6 to 9 other cards in your deck. So you're not running like some other key summons that I feel like Scions really wants, like battle summons.
Yep.
And other ways to like dole things. Like I feel like Amon 100% goes in the deck.
Yep.
It's tough. I don't think people have found the best build yet. I don't actually think Yustola is as impactful as people think yet because it's really hard to get 5 online. However, like the ideal board, and I've done it a few times, is like 3 Scion backups, Pablamo Yida, and then slam Yustola down, and they're in trouble.
Yeah.
They better be able to remove something.
Yeah, they better be able to like have like some damage to get you stole out of there before because she could 3-for-1 the board. That
or just remove
too.
Pablamo. That's usually the like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, because he's only got a 5K.
He's a 5K.
Yeah.
But he's boosting Yita's damage, and he's counting as the 6th Scion for Yustola. So, well, 5th, because it's 5 other than herself.
Yeah. The deck's good. I think
best,
the deck is very good.
Yeah, I'll tell anybody that thinks Yustola is the best card in that deck, you're wrong. Alice is the best card in that deck.
Oh, she's the one that makes the deck viable.
Yeah, Alice, giving everything in your deck basically haste is what blows people out.
Yeah,
Yustola was just the card that kind of put it over the top.
Yeah, it made it better. It gave you an on-color Yustola.
Yep.
I think Cryo might be the best Scion that they printed in the set.
Man.
And it's only because she's a backup that counts.
I mean, even before Opus 6, like, it was really scary to
pretty
play
good
against Scions, like, because of the fact, I mean, I couldn't just swing in because, I mean, if he can play however many Scions he
can't
has,
overextend.
and then he can just swing in, and I won't be able to do anything about it because I just swung in. So
it's like you're basically playing against a deck that has everything has haste.
Yeah.
And once they get Alice out. And I think another tip, too, just for people that want to play the deck, because I've played it a fair amount now.
Mm-hmm.
I like my current build.
Yeah, I think because you have the Warrior of Light.
Mine's like, Scion's Warrior of Light, so it's got Hashmail and stuff in there, so like I can give my Scions damage reduction and shit like that.
Yeah, which feels good.
And then also, if you're playing into like Wind, Earth, and Dalumen shit, Warrior of Light feels really good.
Yeah.
I don't know, again, I'm not sure that's the best version of the deck, so I wouldn't I'm not saying that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But get Alice out as soon as you can.
Yeah.
I fell into the trap where I try to get her out at a discount a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to go Luis Suave, Alphino, Alice at a discount.
Mm-hmm.
Just play her.
Yeah.
Just pitch the extra card and play her. Because as soon as she's online, the scarier your deck is.
Mm-hmm.
And your opponent has to play so much differently once she's out.
They can't overextend, or you could be at 4 damage and just be dead the next turn.
If you get her at the discount, great.
Sure.
If you can go turn 1 Alphino, turn 2 Alice, you feel really good.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that holds the deck back, however, all your good backups are Lightning. All your good forwards are Earth, except for Thancred.
Yeah, and that's rough.
And that can be a little tough, finding the right mana to play stuff and the right balance of backups and forwards and stuff.
That's why maybe even throwing a Camelot Chaos in there might be a good call too, because that's
it might be okay.
You never know.
Yeah,
I agree.
But then you can't play Warrior of Light. But
see, that's when
it's tough. Again, the Cavalry build might be the best build. I personally don't think I found the best build. Your best build might have Urion J in it. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I just believe that the best build of straight Science doesn't have him in there. But
because I think Urion J is a good card that you if you're playing a deck that's multiple colors and especially something like that. He's almost at least worth consideration. And again, we're telling you all that to tell you this. That's a card that kind of goes back into when you're testing decks and when you're doing stuff. Why not try it? Especially when you have outlets if you don't want to build the deck, go on FF decks, build 8 versions of the deck.
That's what I do.
Load them up on Octagon and just tick 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 and just play them that way.
I'll bring a deck if I'm seriously testing one deck, I'll bring a deck and I'll probably bring basically another deck where the cards that are potentials.
Yeah.
And I'll just slide stuff in and out.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's 100% the way to do it.
And I've tried it with Urion J. I just prefer it without him.
Yeah, one of the cards that I put in was the Moog 11, and
the card's good.
Yeah, and I mean I didn't even think about his he's an 11 character, so I can search for him with Star Sybil, all of those. So that card honestly saved me a ton because if I have Semi-Lufia out and Moog out, I play Star Sybil, search for another Moog, and then I can search for whatever card I want.
And that's also a great play on your opponent's turn. That's one thing. Effects like that, and Earthwind has a lot of this. I don't want to dive too deep in this, but the fact that it's you can do that at any time.
Yeah.
PSA. In the rules of this game, if you search,
you have to
reveal. It doesn't matter if it says a card or a specific card type. If the word search is on the card,
You have to search.
You have to show your opponent what you searched.
Yeah, I think the only time you don't have to do that is with Porum.
Well, she doesn't say search. She just
right.
says
She's just
look at the top 4.
Yeah.
Battaron is another one that just says like look at the top. And when it says like look at the top X,
as opposed to
pick a
reveal.
card as opposed to search your entire deck.
Then
Then
once
it's
you to
different.
reveal, it will say reveal the top.
Exactly,
X.
like realm.
Yeah.
It says
Realm
reveal
of
because you
yeah.
have to grab a particular card type.
Yep.
But if your card says search, Thornton, Mog 11,
Yep. You have
to show the card. I know I've seen a lot of arguments about it. That's
yeah. Because I agree. Because in Magic, that's a big deal. If it doesn't say reveal, you don't have to.
Yeah, and I took it at face value at first too when we were playing Seal because I wasn't familiar with that specific rule.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, now I know like everyone has to reveal their shit. And that's a big deal for the opponent and the person searching.
Right, but that goes back to kind of how this game is. They don't like there's a like an attitude like really like in the rules of this game that they want the game to be fun. They want it to be fair. I feel like sometimes the rules as loose as they sound sometimes, and the fact that you sometimes have to find them on Twitter, like I feel like they're there to be like, hey, don't be a shithead. Like I feel like the rules are saying like, hey, we're telling you to search for a card. You know where the card's coming from, or if you're searching, show it.
Yep.
You know, like have fun. Like they're telling you, like the rules are here, but also at the end of the day, it's a game. So please have fun with it. That's kind of how I feel like the way the rules kind of go. So, but yeah, like there's like all this stuff you have to take into consideration when you're testing, like different variations. Like sometimes a 2 or 3 card difference like makes it all. Like just switching out a playset of something.
3 cards can help a matchup tremendously.
Oh yeah, because I remember when I started testing Turbo Discard, I was like, I'm gonna put 3 squalls in here. I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
And then I like cut some of the other numbers here.
I think we can still improve that deck too.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've rambled a little bit, but that's
okay.
Yeah,
but that's kind of what you do here. That's what you do when you have new players in the club,
in
the clubhouse, new boys in the clubhouse. But yeah, that's what you want to do. Like you want to try to jam as many matchups as you can, and just try to go out in these qualifiers and do your best. And then same thing with Gen Con, any Crystal Cups, any other events you go to. Like you want to make sure that when you qualify, then you can start focusing on the big picture. You can start testing for nationals. Like play what you think is good right now. Play what you think you can win, and then
comfort matters a lot too.
Yeah, comfort is huge right now.
I think that helped me a lot today.
It matters a
being able
lot.
to play something that I was semi-comfortable with.
Yeah,
like
you can outplay players on just because your understanding is better of the cards that you're playing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But with that, we'll go ahead and sign off for this week. We do appreciate everybody listening. As always, like, subscribe, follow. You know where to find us. Feel free to hit us on Twitter with any questions, any comments. Leave those positive vibes. And if you don't like us, tell us why. We love to hear feedback, good, bad, or other. And if you have any suggestions, questions, I know one thing we've talked about, but we haven't talked about in a while, is we would love to have a segment on our podcast where we answer like viewer questions or
I'd love
listener
to do
questions.
A Q&A.
Yeah, so I think we'll if you guys want, I don't know the best way to implement this.
Yeah, maybe I won't ramble too much on the podcast. So maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it, but we would love to start integrating a Q&A session. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off.
Yep.
Michael, Sarah, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening once again to the RVA Returners podcast. If you like this content and you want to hear more, check us out on YouTube at RVA Returners, and make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and check us out on Google Play and iTunes.